Healthy Scratch Red Wings Report, presented by 5v5hockey.com.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Healthy Scratch Red Wings Report. It's been a while. It's Buschy back with you. Life comes at you quick. Just having two kids has been way more than I ever thought, and haven't really had a lot of time to do videos. But we are on July 1st. It's free agency day. And you know what that means. All the people that hate Steve Yzerman are going to come out of the woodwork, and I'm going to tell you that there's probably not going to be a whole lot going on here. I want to just recap from the end of the season until now. There has been a lot of discourse on the Red Wings, and I mean, I can't even listen to 97.1 anymore because it is just an echo chamber of absolute nonsense. And like, I understand that people are frustrated, but at the same time, they're going to make some moves here, and they already have made one of note that we'll go through. But like, there's no way to really like speed run this thing, and we're gonna get through some of this free agency stuff and why you can't really look ahead to free agency and go, hey, we're just gonna like sign 3 or 4 of these guys. I've done enough Puckpedia GM modes to know that this usually isn't how it works. So let's go through this. The biggest move that the Red Wings have made was a trade at the draft, and it was John Gibson. So this is the first time, in my opinion, that the Red Wings have had like a number one goalie since Jimmy Howard. And I think you can say that he's a number one goalie. I know he struggled the past few years. Last year, 29 games, had a very, very good year with Anaheim. The thing is, the Ducks have Lucas Dostal, so they don't really need a guy like John Gibson. And I think the Red Wings didn't give up much. They gave up Peter Mrazek, who they just got for like Joe Veleno, and they gave up a second-round pick and a fourth-round pick, which they then recouped by trading back in the draft. So in essence, they gave up Joe Veleno, who just got bought out by Seattle, so basically a nothing player. Basically a second-round pick for John Gibson, no retain on it, which is fine with me because there's 2 more years, so this year, next year, 6.4, not so bad. And I think it's just Gibson's wanted a change of scenery for a while now, and he's finally got it and said he was excited to get to Detroit. So having Gibson and Talbot as a tandem, I think that's a good goaltending matchup there. Now, signings, so far, we've got Albert Johansson has come back as a restricted free agent. We've had Jonathan Berggren come back as a free agent as well, a restricted. The Berggren one, he's making 1.8. That's a little higher than I thought, but it's for 1 year. It's kind of a prove-it deal. Johansson's deal is like 1.1 for 2 years. I think that's very good value for a defenseman that obviously fits in the top 6 and will be there for the next few years. And you can move him around the lineup a little bit if you need to. The biggest one was Patrick Kane is back as a Red Wing. So that's why I got that thing hanging there. I mean, I love Kaner. I know everybody that has seen this channel knows that I love Patrick Kane. $3 million base salary, but $4 million in bonuses. And we've talked about this last year when he signed these 1-year deals when you're 35 plus incentives. So basically, some of the ones that are going to happen for sure. Most likely, it's going to be a $5.5 million cap hit, which is exactly the same as he was last year. So that's something where I think like good deal for the Red Wings just because Kane is such a key part of like the power play. I mean, ideally you would probably want to plug him in on the third line, you know, and shelter his minutes 5-on-5, but they don't have the luxury of doing that right now. So he's probably playing on that second line with DeBrincat and Casper, which was really good at the end of the year. So those are the big moves. And then another one is, and this is just because I'm a dummy, I have one of these. He gone. I really thought that Vladimir Tarasenko was going to be something for the Red Wings, and it just didn't work out. It just wasn't a fit, and it never was. And Steve Yzerman getting rid of that full contract for nothing without having to put a retain on it or a draft pick as a sweetener. Amazing deal just to get rid of Vlad Tarasenko. Looking at the Minnesota Wild Twitter and some of the stuff they think this guy is a top 6 winger, and they're going to be sorely mistaken because he's just not. He's just not what he was, and it's been years since he has been what he was. I was excited when he came, just as excited that he's not here anymore. So that thing, I'm going to have to take that name off and see what we can get back on there. Maybe, hopefully someone can break the curse of 11. It's my favorite number. So Tarasenko's gone. So what does that mean? Well, $4.5 million more of cap space. So in free agency, what are the Red Wings looking for? The biggest holes right now are top 6 winger and top 4 defenseman. I think that is fair to say. I mean, in goal, they're set now with Gibson and Talbot. You know, the back end, ideally what you want to do, or what I would want to do, is put Sherratt back on the third pair where I think he belongs and would be very effective. Being up with Seider on that top line it's something where he's just being overused. That's just not what his role should be. He would be a perfect third pair defenseman. That's where I would want him. You got Edvinsson, you've got Seider, you've got Johansson, then you got Gustafsson is in there too. Justin Hall is still on this team somehow. I have no idea how he's still here. I mean, are we going to bury him in the minors? I don't think they're using a buyout on him. Can they get rid of his contract somehow? I just think for the roster spot, let's move on. But he might just be your seventh defenseman. Fine, I guess. But I think they still need somebody in that top four to solidify it. Now, I would have said Aaron Ekblad. And he re-signed with Florida. I would have said Vlad Gavrikov, which sounds like he's going to go to the Rangers. A guy that might actually fit might be K'Andre Miller from the Rangers. If Gavrikov goes to the Rangers, probably, they don't have enough room to bring back Will Cooley and K'Andre Miller. He's 25 years old. He's a big defenseman. I think he would fit in that top four very well because he's 25 years old. So he fits the trajectory of the Red Wings' age. So he's not like a late 20s. He's right in the middle. So depending on what you have to give up for him, I think that might be a good target for the Red Wings to go after. Another one kind of lower down the list is another ex-Rangers, Ryan Lindgren. I'm not really too keen on him, but again, would he be an upgrade? Probably, on the bottom pair that we have, but is he a top four guy? He was when he played with Adam Fox, but he's had a year and a half of not being too great, so I don't know if I would want to commit too big to him. And then up front, top four wingers, I really think we're down to two. And Bob McKenzie just said on TSN that Nikolai Ehlers probably isn't making a decision today. So, you're going to wait for him. Brock Besser, haven't really seen the Wings linked to him much either. So, this is where I want to kind of tell people, I'm not expecting any signings early. I mean, if they might do something like a guy on the third line that can score maybe. I don't know if that's maybe something like I've kind of thought guys like, and it's funny, but like Nyquist, Mantha, these guys that they can score, they have, other kind of deficiencies, but the problem with the Red Wings bottom six last year was they couldn't score goals. They were just absolutely useless. So, when they had a guy like Daniel Sprong the year before, he'd score you 17 goals. He wasn't going to do much else, but at least he was putting the pucks in the net. So looking for guys maybe like that. I think we'll get a couple depth signings maybe. I would like them to take a big swing, but here's the problem. Everybody has cap space this year. With the cap going up, with everything being as crazy as it is, I really don't think there's going to be any big fish to go after in signings. So when Steve Yzerman says, I don't feel too confident, he said that, I don't feel too confident in getting any of these big fish. It's like, we're going to go after them, but like they want to have to go to you. They want to have to sign in Detroit, and if they don't, they don't, right? Like you can give them the offer, but it doesn't mean he's not trying to get these guys. I think trades are going to be the route, and they did it with Gibson, but like, can they get a guy like K'Andre Miller? I'd be completely fine with that. But then can they also go out and get a top six guy somehow? I don't know who that guy would be. I really don't. Because I don't see an internal player that would fit the top six right now that could play on that top line, because they already tried last year. They tried Michael Rasmussen, they tried Soderblom, they tried Tarasenko. They had Kasper up there for a while, but I think Kasper's your 2C right now. A lot of players that were going to be free agents have re-signed with their own teams, and that list has got so small, and you're going to see some whack signings today. And we've said this for the last few years. Oh, thank God Detroit didn't get in on those. It might be another one of those days where it's like, this is the way to build the team, and this is probably where Yzerman's going, like there's all these guys at the beginning of the year. You think about Marner, Rantanen, Marchand, Tavares. None of them are available today. None of them. They've all re-signed or got traded or went elsewhere, right? So all these big fish where we have all this cap space, like who are we going to use it on? And I don't think you go out and just overpay somebody to overpay somebody. Still has to make sense. It might not be the time, like maybe next year. Like I really do think taking a swing on Kyle Connor next year, that's a guy that I would go hard after and give him as much as he wants and be the big player for that. But I'm curious to see what happens. It's like noon right now, so free agency has just opened. I will try to keep everybody updated on what the Red Wings do today, but I'm not I'm not too optimistic that we're gonna get some big swing and get some crazy free agent. If we do, great, but if not, we'll break it down as it goes. But until that happens, let's watch some free agency.